Is Jhon Durán destined to be world-class, or a classic wasted talent story that we all look back on in 10 years and say, yeah, the fire of world-class potential was there, but never the gasoline to ignite it? Right now, I'd say it's basically 50-50. The talent is real, the explosiveness is real, but his temperament and the transfer decisions he makes could easily be the difference between a Ballon d'Or shortlist and a Remember That Guy compilation on YouTube. So let's ask the real question. What could Jhon Durán actually learn from the successes and failures of Nicolas Anelka, Radamel Falcao, Jackson Martinez, Mario Balotelli, and Diego Forlan specifically? Number 1, what does Durán already have that those guys had at the same age, in terms of raw weapons and playstyle? Number 2, how did their environments, their managers, their transfers, and their systems either unlock them or completely break their rhythm? And what does that mean for Durán's next move? Number 3, what is Durán's best role? From a tactical and football manager point of view, is he a complete forward, a pressing forward, a target man, or something more chaotic, like a Balotelli-style wildcard? And which of those roles actually leads to world-class level rather than highlight reel merchant? And number 4, mentally and emotionally, what are the warning signs? What are the green flags? And how can he avoid becoming another what-if like Jackson Martinez or Balotelli, and instead trend more towards that Forlan quietly elite, resilient professional arc? Well, before I get into that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to okjersey.com. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, such as this Sebastian Veron Manchester United 01-02 season home shirt, as well as this Zinedine Zidane Real Madrid shirt from the same season. Also, if you spend over $50, you'll also get free shipping depending on where you live. And if you use code Atlantis at checkout, you can also get a discount. So, I'll leave that linked in the description and in the comment section below. Let's start with what Durán already has. Even just from the eye test, Durán looks like a glitched out regen striker from an old football manager save. He's powerful, he's explosive over 5 to 10 yards, he strikes the ball clean, and he has that chaos energy, where defenders are never quite sure if he's about to sprint in behind, spin them, or smash one from 25 yards. That raw, unrefined energy is what Anelka had as a teenager at PSG and Arsenal. It's what a young Falcao had in South America and Porto. It's what Balotelli had at Inter and City. And it's what Jackson Martinez was cooking at Porto before everything went sideways. Durán already has that "you can't coach this" toolkit. He can run channels, he can play on the last line, he's strong enough to pin centre-backs, and he looks like the kind of striker who can score all types of goals if the rest of his game catches up. But that's also the trap, because guys with that much natural ability sometimes skip steps in their development. They get by on power and instinct instead of detail and repetition. So the first big lesson from those names is this: talent gets you noticed, detail gets you world-class. Think of Falcao at his peak, not just a beast in the air, but his movement was robotic in the best way. Near post, far post, shoulder of the centre-back. He moved like a striker who had watched every single box movement pattern on repeat. Same with peak Anelka. His timing to drift wide, drop in, then attack space was pure intelligence layered on top of pace. If Durán wants that path, he has to become obsessed with those boring details, not just being the most dangerous athlete on the pitch. Now, second sub-question, environment and transfers. How did they make or break these guys? And what should Durán learn from that? Anelka is basically the poster boy for how constant movement can both help and hurt you. On one hand, he played for huge clubs. He got big moves, big contracts, big nights. On the other, the narrative around him became about attitude, about restlessness, about never quite building a legacy in one place. He was almost too available, too easy to move, too easy to discard. Compare that to Forlan. He failed in England early, didn't really fit the system or the timing, but instead of becoming bitter, he took a step sideways, found the right environment in Spain, and quietly turned himself into one of the most intelligent, most efficient forwards in Europe. He chose stability, and the game rewarded him. Then there's Falcao and Jackson Martinez, two Porto strikers that football manager kids loved. Falcao nailed his moves at first, Porto, then Atleti, systems built to get him chances in the box, managers who understood his strengths. Once he started chasing the next big move, the injuries, the loans, the misfit systems, It all started to chip away at that aura. Jackson Martinez is almost the purest warning label Durán could ever study. From unstoppable complete 9 at Porto, to a move that didn't suit his profile, to injuries, to losing rhythm, and suddenly from next elite striker to a trivia question. For Durán, the message is simple but brutal. Don't chase the big badge too early, chase the right system, the right manager, the right role. If your next move is about Instagram and ego, you are already trending Balotelli and Jackson instead of Forlan and prime FALCAO. That leads into sub-question 3. Tactically, what is Jhon Durán really? What is his ideal role? If you're a football manager nerd, you know the difference between these archetypes. Advanced forward, pressing forward, complete forward, target forward, deep-lying forward. They sound like labels, but they're actually mindsets. Right now, Durán feels like a cross between a pressing forward and an advanced forward. He wants to attack space, he wants to run off shoulders, he wants to cause chaos with his intensity. Think early FALCAO movement, mixed with a bit of Balotelli unpredictability. The question is, does he grow into a true complete forward like prime Anelka, comfortable drifting wide, linking play, dropping in, making clever angles, or does he stay as a pure chaos striker who relies mostly on power, runs, and moments? Look at those comps. FORLAN became elite because he added playmaking. He could drop off, knit things together, shoot from range, link runners from midfield. FALCAO, at his best, totally mastered the penalty box, to the point where his lack of height didn't matter. Anelka, when happy and trusted, was almost a modern complete forward, who could lead the line and partner another star. On the other side, Balotelli never fully committed to one consistent tactical identity. Sometimes 9, sometimes wide, sometimes second striker, sometimes vibes. Durán needs to decide, who am I going to be when I'm 27 and in my prime? If he leans into being an all-phase striker, pressing from the front, linking play, scoring, assisting, he has a real shot at that world-class tier. If he leans only on power and emotion, he risks becoming just another cult hero that the streets remember, but the honors lists don't. And that takes us to sub-question 4, mentality, emotion, and temperament. Every single one of those names is a case study in how the brain and the heart decide your ceiling just as much as your feet. Anelka, at times, was painted as moody, distant, hard to manage. Some of that was unfair, some of it was real, but the result was the same. Managers stopped building around him, even when he was one of the best in his position. Balotelli is the ultimate genius but example. On his night, he looked unstoppable, physically superior, technically outrageous, but the off-pitch noise, the attitude questions, the inconsistency in training made top clubs give up on building long-term around him. The talent didn't disappear, the trust did. FALCAO and Forlan, in contrast, give Durán the blueprint. They hit adversity, injuries, bad fits, but you rarely heard about them, blaming everybody else or burning bridges in public. They kept finding ways to adapt, and that's why they still get that respect from serious football people. For Durán, that temper, that fire, is both his superpower and his greatest risk. You want your striker to play angry, you want him to think he can destroy any defender, but you have to control that emotion, you can't let it control you. He has to learn the difference between competitive edge and self-sabotage, between demanding the ball and sulking when he doesn't get it, between fighting for his place and losing his head when he's rotated or criticized. Because clubs, especially at the top, will always choose a slightly less talented but ultra-professional forward over a more gifted wildcard who makes the manager's life harder. So, is Jhon Durán destined to be world-class, or a wasted talent? Right now, it genuinely feels like it could go either way. If he studies the paths of Anelka, FALCAO, Jackson Martinez, Balotelli, and Forlan, if he learns the right lessons about environment, role, and mentality, he has everything he needs to become elite. But if he ignores that history, if he chases the wrong move, leans only on his raw talent, and lets his temperament lead the way, then yeah, we might look back in a decade and say, Durán was one of those the streets will never forget, but the game never truly saw his peak. So my final answer is this. Jhon Durán is not destined either way yet. He is standing at the exact fork in the road between world-class and wasted talent, and what he chooses next will decide which story we tell about him.